people. Today is Thursday, the 30th of August, and we've finished up another great month here at the Wine Watch. And man, I'm still way behind in what I had to drink yesterday. This review is, this piece was done when I was out in Napa Valley, California, celebrating the Lewis's 20th year anniversary. And whenever I'm out in Napa, I give a good friend of mine, Rob Sweeney, a call just to see what Rob's doing. And I was only there for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I got in late Friday night and then Saturday and Sunday, so not a lot of time to hook up with Rob. But Sunday morning, I gave him a buzz. And, Rob, what are you doing? He says, man, I'm on my way into the winery to water the vines. I said, well, I'll meet you over there. And next thing you know, we were out on four-wheelers driving through the vineyard. I have to say that was the most fun part of my visit out there to Napa Valley. I've never been out on four-wheelers, but the only way that you can get through the vineyards here is on four-wheels or on horseback, which thank God they sold those horses, because I am not a horseman. I'll tell you that right now. And four-wheel is a lot more fun. And, I said, Rob, why don't you just, why don't you have this automated where you can just push a button and water that portion of the vineyard, And he says, well, because when you push buttons, you can't actually see the vines, and you could have a clog in one of the hoses or something, and you really have to go through the vineyard to make sure that everything is just right. They do irrigate Napa Valley, especially up on the mountains, because not a lot of rain there. And I know some people feel like, well, that's part of organic biodynamic farming is, the natural level of rain there, but they would not get a crop in Napa Valley if they didn't irrigate. So very different than some other hillside vineyards, maybe in France, where the producers are anti-irrigation, but in Napa Valley it is absolutely necessary. And to the extent where, you have to be somewhat scientific about it. Rob's got this little machine that they take the leaves and put it in there, kind of hydrometer machine, and you can tell just how stressed the vines are, because they don't want to overwater them. They don't want the roots to be way up near the soil. They want them to go down to get water. So there's a certain amount of stress that you want to have your vines under. And like I said, man, this was like a Rubik's Cube map that he pulled out of his pocket to see what section of the vineyard we were going to go drive through to water. And this is the guy that owns the property, Rob Sweeney. Well, his parents founded Vine Cliff. They bought the property in 1985 and started to resurrect this ancient winery there. And, Rob has been there since day one, and, he loves being out in the vineyard. This is absolutely essential to me in making great wines, because the vineyard next door, you could tell, great property, but there wasn't just as much love going on in the vineyards. Rob, like he says, the vines like to be talked to. I've heard of, Gregorian chants in the winery at Montes before, but talking to the vines while the grapes are growing, I'm sure there's a lot of people like Rob that believe, the more care that you put in the vineyard, the better the product is going to be in the bottle. In Vine Cliff, you can put this wine up against their Cabernet, anything made in Napa, and we've done it at our cult tasting with the Private Stock 2005, the last vintage to put into our blind tasting with a flight, and just happened to be in the Screaming Eagle flight. Over half the people picked that as their top wine. Well, the 2009 Private Stock, which we'll have in shortly, looks like another stunner. Rob says the second best wine he has ever made. Anyways, we're driving through the vineyards, and Rob just says, let's take a stop here, because this section is not scheduled to be watered, but the vines look a little more stressed than they should be. And sure enough, we clipped one of the leaves off and put it in his little machine, and it was pegging out at the stress level, which, indicated that, the vines needed water much more quickly than he thought they did. And he says, look, we wouldn't have known this if we weren't out in the vineyards doing this. You just press buttons inside and turn it on and off irrigation. You don't get the same feeling for the vines. And, this row over here needs water more than this one does, just because of the elevation or just the soil type in this part of the vineyard has changed. So he is very dialed in and making some of the greatest wines in Napa Valley because of the time that he spends out in the vineyards. They've got a great vineyard down in CARNEROS. Unfortunately, 2011, they lost everything. A very difficult vintage due to rot. But the 2009 vintage CARNEROS Chardonnay, always a favorite here in the store, has that lovely creamy peach and apricot fruit, really smooth and creamy texture on the palate, just the right touch of vanilla spice, and lovely citrus freshness on the finish, balancing everything out. The Cabernet Sauvignon Napa 2006, I had to do a double take when I saw this. 2007, we had in our gift boxes over the holidays. Well, his Napa Cab, not as expensive as his Oakville, but always needs a little more time to me, always a little more tannic. The Oakville wine, just so plush and delicious. This 2009, one of the best Oakvilles from Rob ever. It displays the best about this appellation, and that is immediate drinkability. To me, Oakville is more like the Pinot Noir type Cabernets of Napa Valley. They don't have the dusty earthiness of Rutherford, the mountain fruit of Howell Mountain, Diamond Mountain, and Spring Mountain. They don't have that minerality. They're more smooth and just really luscious and drinkable. Lovely currant, black cherry, blueberry almost fruit here, really dark berry fruit, and lovely toasty oak spice. Rob is now also doing some custom crush for people at his winery because he has cut the production in half at Vine Cliff to make the best wines in Napa Valley, and he's working with some of the top names now. I'm not going to mention any names of people he's doing custom crush for, but one of the top names in Napa Valley, Philippe Melka. Oops, sorry, I said it there. But anyways, he learned an incredible lot from Philippe this last year, and he's had some of the best names in the business. He's been working with Paul Hobbs, Joe Cafaro, some really top-level people in the past, so he's had some great minds to learn from, and like I said, he has that passion and dedication and drive in the vineyard. Well, check it out, everything that we've got in the store from Vine Cliff Winery, and keep an eye out for the 2009 private stock. It is another stunner. I'm your host, Andrew Lamposoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.